In the last 25 years, the nutrient drop in Indian vegetables is 40%. You can eat the same amount of vegetables, you're getting 40% less nutrients. And everybody is sick. Now in America, you're talking about how to give up meat. In India, every doctor is advising if you don't eat meat, you will not get nourishment. Vegetarian diet has no nourishment simply because of the way it's grown. It's only looking like food, it's not food, it's trash.
I want to close with a two-part question. So the first is, you've seen a lot of different farming techniques. And there's an organic farmer from Southern California that would like your advice, practical advice, on a gardening tip. And then the other question says, how can we arrive at conscious connection with Mother Earth every step we take on her?
So I'm not a farmer. My wife has a vegetable garden which is very prodigious, and we eat from it. I ate kale this afternoon from our garden, very gratefully. And I learned a lot from Ed and Rochelle. But I would say, instead, I'd look at a trend. If the gentleman who asked the question is an organic farmer…
Or it could be a woman.
Oh, I thought you said him. Whoever it is, he or she, is an organic farmer, that think about 10 years ago what the word organic meant. It was sort of hippy-dippy, and it was in little small shops and co-ops and things like that. And then Whole Foods started to embrace it, and now every major supermarket chain has to have an organic section, and Amazon bought Whole Foods because the world is going in this direction. People are realizing they want organic food. They want clean, healthy food where they know where it came from. So I would just say, bless you, keep doing what you're doing, because the world is going to need a lot more of what you produce, and ultimately we can end this concept of killing the soil and covering it with chemicals, petrochemicals, and creating something that some people call food.
Well, I see that we have started using these words which have become part of our daily life. Like for example, this always bothers me, the word waste. See, everything that we have, from the food that we eat, the clothes that we wear, the furniture we sit on, and just everything, is essentially a piece of this planet. Hello? Everything is, including this body and everything, is just a piece of this planet. There is never anything here that you can call waste. You're allowed to use it, and when you put it back, it must become soil once again. Well, Cornelius is here, he's the shit king. Well,
Nothing is wasted.
How much percentage of United States shit do you have in your control?
Working on more and more, working on more and more.
Well, some big percentage of the shit from all the cities in United States, Cornelius owns it. He's not responsible for it, but he owns it.
It's a long story.
It's a long story. So, I'm saying, there is really nothing that is waste here. It's just earth. Now, we make many things out of it. Some things, like us, the moment we are buried, within a few days becomes earth very easily, but we are putting ourselves in a box, I don't know why. I just cannot understand. Why are you in a box? You must be in a rush to become part of the earth. Putting you in a box, you're preventing this body from becoming earth, unfortunately. We evolved a system in our center, anywhere around us, if people die, we just bury them and plant a tree on them. So, for their relatives and friends, this tree. You make very good manure if you did not know this. Anything that you put out of your body makes fantastic manure, Cornelius. And the body itself is fantastic manure, you know. So, this aspect of what is organic, what is inorganic, there's really nothing like that. Everything is planet. Whatever you made out of it. We made some things which unfortunately cannot quickly go back into earth. It takes… some things take 1,000 years or more these days we're talking about. But most of the other things, if you put it down to earth, within a matter of a decade or two, it will be earth again. So that's what is fantastic. Even you may be thinking many things about yourself. As far as Mother Earth is concerned, she looks at you and she thinks you as a recycling process. She throws you out and sucks you back, she throws you out and sucks you back. You think, I'm a great guy, I'm a great generation, but she thinks nothing. She just throws you out and sucks you back. Hello? You're just a pop-up. So, this idea that we got from somewhere, that we can grow food in some other way other than organic way, is kind of unbelievable. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. I don't know how anybody came up with this idea. But when this idea started taking root in India, I was into farming. I was living on a farm. About 35 years ago, 40 years ago, the fertilizer companies were coming and giving talks in villages about the virtues of fertilizer, how it can do things. I was just sitting there and looking at them and I couldn't wrap my head around this, how the hell? And they were telling all the farmers, this unfortunately worked. They were telling the farmers, see, in Indian farmer is like this, because largely it is rain-fed cultivation, okay? Irrigated lands are a certain percentage, rest is all rain-fed. We had a system of rainfall that we could almost… farmer would know on this day it will rain, you know? They would be ready. They know on this particular day of the calendar it's going to rain and it always rains. So he's got his plough ready, everything ready for that day. That's how it was. But these guys came and advised, you must remove all the trees. Because trees suck away the fertilizer. It's expensive. If you have trees, they will take up all the fertilizer, it won't go to your crops. So you must take away the trees. And trees just vanished in the last 40 years on such a scale. For example, the Ganga basin. Ganga is the largest or one of the biggest rivers in India. It is metaphorically, it is the river for the Indian people. Ganga covers 25% of India's geography and 33% of India's agriculture is in the Ganga basin. In the Ganga basin, in the last 40 years' time, we removed 92% of the trees in the Ganga basin, okay? Today, every year, we're putting back about 100 million trees. That's just started, yet to grow. Tree doesn't happen overnight, we can plant, but it'll take 20 years to make it look like a tree. So this policy, the commercial companies went about propagating that if you have trees, you will not succeed in your farming. And this led to suicides. Farmers started committing suicide because if his crop fails, he has nothing to fall back on. Otherwise, every farmer used to have a line of trees, at least on one side of the… because looking at the winds and the monsoon winds so that the seeds don't spread all over the land, they always planted their trees on the eastern side because the southwest monsoon was the strongest wind, so they always planted on the eastern side of their land. And they want to conduct their daughter's wedding, one tree they cut. It's already named, it was like this in the southern villages. This tree is named after their daughter. For her wedding, this tree is growing. When she was born, it was planted, it is growing. When for her wedding comes, they're going to chop down this tree and that's how it gets financed. Now the son has to go to the university, there's another tree. Like this, they had insurance. When things went bad, they fell back on the trees. But they just removed everything because fertilizer companies insisted, you have to remove trees, otherwise fertilizer will not be effectively used. And in the last 10 years, over 300,000 farmers committed suicide in India, simply because there is no fallback. When crop fails, there is simply no fallback for him, he's just lost. The money that he's borrowed from the banks or money lenders, he can't pay back. Unable to bear that, he just takes this extreme step. So, why I'm saying this is there some other way to grow food other than organic? There isn't. There simply isn't. There is no such thing as organic farming and some other synthetic farming, there is no such thing. You're just pumping up the organic plants with something just to make it look like food. It is only looking like food. In the last 25 years, the nutrient drop in Indian vegetables is 40%. You can eat the same amount of vegetables, you're getting 40% less nutrients. And everybody is sick. Now in America, you're talking about how to give up meat. In India, every doctor is advising if you don't eat meat, you will not get nourishment. The same fertilizer story. At that time, the fertilizer companies did that. Now the doctors are telling everybody, if you do not eat meat, you will not get nourishment. In a way, they're not totally off because vegetarian diet has no nourishment simply because of the way it's grown. It's only looking like food, it's not food, it's trash that they're selling to you. So, is there some kind of farming other than organic farming? There is simply isn't.
Can you leave us with some inspiration?
Oh. Did I depress you?
I thought that's what he was doing all night. My heart is full, but…
Well, as already Terry pointed this out at one point, so people are going about saying planet is in peril. Planet is not in peril. The idiotic humanity is in peril. Planet is not in peril. It will adjust itself. Planet knows how to come back. It's just that, it's not that we are also not going to be extinguished, but we will bring huge suffering upon ourselves. Talking about 1.5 degrees centigrade of rise, which is a kind of a compromise decision, we will heat it 1.5 degrees on. Well, when this happens, the worst hit part of the planet will be Asia. Because it is believed out of 200 and odd islands in Indonesia, it is believed over 60% of them will sink. If the water rises anywhere to 2 meters, about 6 to 7 feet if it raises, over 60% of the islands will go down. Where will these populations go? If an island sinks, what's our problem? The problem is, there are too many people on the island, isn't it? If we do not do this consciously, nature will do it to us in a very cruel way. Correction. If we do not do the corrections consciously, nature will enforce it in a cruel way. Not because it wants to make you suffer, that's our choice. It is just that it's a correction. And when corrections happen, some things will be cut out. When some things are cut out, it could be you and me who are cut out. That is a painful process. So we have to do this consciously. This is the time. This is the time I'm saying, because this is for the first time in the history of humanity that we can sit here and communicate to the whole world. At this point of time, if we cannot do the right things, what the hell are we doing? Huh? It's all right. 1,000 years ago, even if we thought right, even if we figured out the right things, we could not tell everybody, we could not communicate to the world, everybody did their own thing. But for the first time, we are able to communicate to the entire population on this planet. Every human being on the planet can be reached in the next half an hour or 1 hour, if you wish. When this kind of possibility is there, this is the time to do right things, and we have to do the right things, both in terms of human consciousness, which is the most important thing. Because without human beings becoming a conscious entity, when they're in compulsive modes, you cannot stop them. See, people are trying to curtail human aspiration, it's not going to work. People drive Tesla to their office, but they got a beast parked in their garage, all right? Yes. So you cannot curtail human aspiration, but you can definitely control human population. Now this looks like a single pitch from my side and everybody is saying, oh, but we must understand this. Without lowering the human footprint, believe me, on this planet, you thinking in the next 50 years you will make everybody sensible and control their aspirations, what they seek, no, not practical, because the world has not developed in an equal way. What is California? What is India? What is Bangladesh? What is African countries? These are different worlds by themselves. Only now these people are coming to their fulfilling their aspirations. You go and talk to them about these things, they will look through you and they will do what they have to do. Because they're just now fulfilling their small aspirations, you're not going to control their aspirations. It's not going to be controlled like that. But population can be brought down. And for this you need the cooperation of the existing populations, the religious leaders particularly, because, I think we need to come up with something. Maybe the heaven is overpopulated if you say this.
There won't be room.
No space out there, so slow down here. Is a So, but we want something inspirational.
Just a little much.
Yes. The thing is just this. Humanity has the intelligence and for the first time the competence to fix things on this planet like never before. We are the first generation who have the necessary competence, intelligence, technology and communication capabilities. The first ever generation who has this competence. We have to exercise this competence. And there is no one mantra, One mantra if you want, we must raise human consciousness. Consciousness means just this. Physicality means, this is my body, that's your body. No way these things can be same till you bury them, all right? This is you, this is me. This is my body, that's your body. This is my mind, that's your mind. This is how it's always going to be and it's wonderful. But there is no such thing as my life and your life. This is just a living cosmos. You captured a little, that's all. If you want this to become a life of some consequence, the important thing is how big or how much life do you capture within this body, within this mind, simply depends on how open everything is left in you. This is what consciousness means. Consciousness means a limitless existence. Physicality means a limited existence. Mentality means a little bigger existence but bigger than physicality but still limited. Because our mind and the structure of our mind is determined by what memories we carry, and whatever memories we carry of knowledge and experience are still a minuscule compared to the nature of the cosmos. But consciousness means that if you touch that dimension which we are referring to as consciousness, you've touched an intelligence which is beyond memory. That means you've touched an intelligence which is not bound by anything. Every human being has to come in contact with this dimension of intelligence within us. Only then we will function in a way that our well-being is not detrimental to something else, not just another human being, to everything else. This is not an ecology class, this is the nature of existence. If your experience is limited to something, everything else unknowingly you will damage. If your experience includes everything, then everything that you do, every action that you do, every breath that you take will be in contribution to everything else. So, bringing this consciousness, not ecological consciousness, just human consciousness, because you're touching a dimension of intelligence which is not bound by memory, not bound by limited experience of life. Whatever we think we know, all of us have limited experiences of life, isn't it? Huh? However even if you read the libraries of this planet, still our experience and knowledge is very limited. The only way we can go beyond this is our identities rise beyond race, religion, nationality, physicality, mentality. Beyond this, if we touch something within ourselves, only then our identities are beyond that. Once our identity is not limited to something narrow, then the way we function is very, very different. This human being is a tremendous possibility. In my perception, I think we are just geared, we have everything in place to become the greatest generation of humanity ever on this planet, because no generation was ever empowered like we are. Are we going to just sit on the threshold and watch, or are we going to make it happen? Is in our hands, let's make it happen.
Remember, we're the only university in the hemisphere that offers a Master of Arts in Yoga Studies, and it's all about consciousness.
I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate and express gratitude to the Doshi family and the university. As Mr. Chappell said, it's the only university offering yoga studies. We must understand yoga does not mean twisting and turning. Yoga means consciously obliterating the boundaries of one's individuality. It means union. That's what yoga means. When you obliterate the boundaries of your individuality, that's where the solution for everything is. And we are extremely privileged to have Ed here among us.
Thank you.